anyone else find themselves doom scrolling on the internet, watching videos about how we have X amount of time left to save the planet and other scary things like that? Yeah, so I'm doing this video to put some of that energy somewhere. Hey there, creepy peeps, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from the title of this video, we're talking about eco-horror. Eco-horror is a subgenre of horror that explores ecological and environmental themes, often portraying nature or the environment as a source of terror or threat. In eco-horror narratives, the natural world may react violently to human interference, pollution, or exploitation, resulting in catastrophic consequences for humans or other forms of life. These stories often highlight humanity's destructive impact on the environment and serve as cautionary tales about the consequences of environmental degradation. So first up is not a single movie, but a franchise and an icon of the eco-horror subgenre, and that is Godzilla. Starting with, of course, the 1954 original film Godzilla, which was created in the wake of Japan's experience with nuclear devastation during World War II. Godzilla serves as a metaphor for the destructive power of nuclear weapons and the dangers of radiation. Subsequent films in the franchise often revisit this theme, with Godzilla sometimes portrayed as a force of nature seeking to restore balance to the world by destroying human civilization. Some Godzilla films even critique humanity's over-reliance on technology, in particular when it comes to manipulating the natural world. Whether through genetic engineering, nuclear experimentation, or other means, humans in the franchise often inadvertently create monsters that threaten their own existence, highlighting the dangers of unchecked scientific progress. I love a good Godzilla movie, and one of my favorite things about Godzilla is his atomic breath. It feels ironically appropriate for that to be the kind of destructive weapon of choice as a result of dropping atomic bombs. Next on my list is my favorite Universal movie monster, and that is The Creature from the Black Lagoon, which follows a group of scientists embarking on an expedition to the Amazon jungle where they encounter a prehistoric amphibious creature known as the Gill Man. The creature becomes infatuated with a female member of the expedition, leading to a series of deadly confrontations as the humans try to capture or kill it. This is a classic case of white people just be in places they shouldn't be, just inserting themselves in situations that don't need our input. I am frequently disappointed, angered, discouraged by our desire to just rip up trees and natural spaces to build more and more apartment complexes and housing developments. Like, just stay out of nature for a bit, yeah? Let mother breathe. Like, remember how she was just like so happy when we were all hanging out in our houses for a month during quarantine? And I feel like Creature from the Black Lagoon is a great catharsis for this feeling. It's the comeuppance that comes from not leaving natural spaces alone. Like, sometimes we just need to leave them alone. Next on my list is another kind of iconic film in the eco-horror subgenre, and that is The Host. The film's plot revolves around a careless government organization that dumps toxic chemicals into the Han River, leading to the creation of a mutated creature. The monster terrorizes Seoul, kidnapping a young girl, prompting her family to embark on a perilous journey to rescue her and confront the creature. What I really like about The Host and how it applies to eco-horror is how it highlights the consequences of pollution and its impact on the environment, but adds in the very important detail of governmental bodies creating this pollution, and specifically in the film, the United States government causing this pollution. And I'll let you Google it yourself, but the idea of the US government dumping toxins into the Han River and polluting it is based on a real event that did happen. And I think that is an important theme in the movie, bringing light to the massive amounts of pollution that like big companies, big corporations, governmental bodies put out into the world, and the effect that that has on us, just everyday regular people. Our protagonist, Gongdu, runs a snack stand along the Han River, and a giant monster in said river really affects his day-to-day, you know? To me, it's very reflective of all the articles you see all of the time that come out about all the things that you can do as an individual to be more green or to reduce your carbon footprint or to help save the planet. And those articles normally completely ignore the ways in which big companies and the government cause far more destruction to the environment than we could hope to undo. It very much puts all of the weight on our shoulders, which is not fair at all and not proportional either to the amount of pollution I might cause as an individual versus like Google or Apple. Next on my list is The Ruins, which follows a group of young tourists in Mexico who ventures off the beaten path to explore ancient Mayan ruins. However, they soon find themselves trapped by malevolent forces within the ruins, including carnivorous plants that begin to consume them one by one. As tensions rise and resources dwindle, the group must fight for survival against both the hostile environment and each other. Once again, white people inserting themselves in places that they don't need to be. There is a lesson here in these movies, and I feel like the fact that we keep getting them means we haven't learned our lesson yet. I like the use of literal plants. It's invasive, it's painful, it's scary. It's a version of how I think Mother Nature might fight back against us. Like when she decides to, it'll be visceral and gory and violent like it is in this movie. That aside, this movie is yet another cautionary tale of humans venturing out into nature when we should just leave it alone sometimes. Kind of along the same lines of The Ruins, we have The Happening. And I know, it's not a great movie overall. I get that, I agree with that. But through an eco-horror lens, I feel like the movie is quite scary. The movie follows a mysterious event in which people start inexplicably committing mass suicide. A science teacher and his wife, along with a small group of survivors, try to escape the deadly phenomenon while uncovering its cause, which turns out to be an environmental disaster caused by plants releasing toxins that affect human behavior. Again, when Mother Nature has finally had enough of our shit and decides to take us out, this feels like a very plausible thing that could happen. Just like a natural evolution for plants and the environment to protect itself against us. And that's what makes it feel kind of realistic, kind of scary, especially the fact that it's like a kind of an unseen thing. You know, you see these beautiful shots of like, you know, like trees and plains and grass and all these lovely things, and you can just imagine like being out there in nature and breathing in the fresh air, and the idea of it now being scary because now it's out to get us is terrifying. And I think the movie works really well for like an eco-horror standpoint. Overall, it's a goofy film, but as an eco-horror, I like it. Okay, my second favorite eco-horror movie might seem like kind of a weird choice. It's Crawl, which is set in Florida during a Cat 5 hurricane. A young woman becomes trapped in a flooding house with her injured father, only to discover that they are not alone. A swarm of aggressive alligators lurks in the rising waters, turning their struggle for survival into a desperate battle against both nature and predators. There's definitely a theme with these last couple of ones. They're scary because they're realistic. Now, I can definitely accept that Crawl is not really an eco-horror movie. I don't think that was the intention of making this movie. I don't know that for sure though. But the elements are there. With things we're witnessing now, like with natural events like hurricanes, like blizzards, like big storm type things, they're getting bigger, they're getting more violent and aggressive, and they're getting scarier. Plus, this is set in Florida, and this is something that I think about all the time as somebody who lives in Florida. If/when the sea level does begin to rise, Florida is one of the first places to be taken out, and I know that will be to the benefit of like the entire world probably, but we are at sea level and Florida is flat as fuck. Flooding is already a problem here, so in a disaster situation, we're toast. And finally, my favorite eco-horror movie has got to be The Birds. This follows a series of unexplained and increasingly violent bird attacks on the residents of a small coastal town in California. As the attacks escalate, a socialite and a local lawyer try to survive and uncover the reason behind the birds' inexplicable aggression. Nature fighting back is the theme of eco-horror. It's the whole reason for its existence. It is the main element, and nothing is scarier when it comes seemingly out of nowhere, like in the birds. Any animals deciding to go feral and fuck us up for the sake of the planet is scary anyway, and again, it does not feel that outside the realm of possibility. But birds are particularly scary to me because of how they can swarm. They've got talons, they've got beaks. I love birds at a distance. I mean, hell, just the other day, I dropped what I was doing and ran outside into my backyard to take a picture of a hawk that I saw hanging out on my fence. But I kept my distance and didn't get too close and was very, very nervous because I knew that bird could fuck me up if it wanted to. What are your favorite eco-horror movies? What are the ones that scare you the most? You know, the ones that feel like it could happen any day now. And I apologize for any potential spiraling caused by thinking too hard about the state of the planet. Welcome to my brain 24/7. If you like this video, I have tons of other videos about my favorite blank in horror. One of my more recent ones are my favorite jump scare moments, ones that made my soul absolutely leave my body. I will see you later this week for a Come With Me review for Abigail. Until then, stay strange. Bye.